What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring to all of you this evening. So what we're going to be covering in this update is, obviously, we're going to be talking about this nonsense that we saw in the morning today. There's a very specific reason as to why I think this occurred. We were going over it a little bit today, but it just kind of goes to show the lengths that these large market-making institutions are willing to go to in order to try and recoup their losses from the options that they have to sell. Now, in addition to this, we're going to be going over why the shorts just have such a wild issue right now with AMC. They're kind of locked in these positions right now, and even after what we saw today, they couldn't even push the price down after a 44% green day yesterday. Now, in addition to this, we're going to be going over a little bit of the Ortex data, the short interest, the difference between the borrowed shares today, the return shares today on both AMC and GME, and we're going to be taking a look at the options chain as well. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And again, guys, you've seen the success that people have been having with that 1348 strategy that we have that revolves around those 13 and 48 EMA crosses. If you do want to learn more about that, make sure you check out the link to the Discord down below. We are alerting you guys for free on the 4-hour cross. We currently have about 120 stocks in there, but we are building that up to 500. If you do want that personalized one-on-one trading and the 20 private live streams every single month to actually take it to the next level and kind of build on the strategy and make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you check out the premium as well. So AMC today closed the day at $29.44, up about 0.38%, 11 cents. Now, the first thing that I want to kind of cover is why these shorts kind of have such a big problem right now. And we kind of have to look at this chart on a couple of different time frames here. So yesterday, we got this daily 1348 cross right here, a closing candle above the 200 EMA, and we started to come back down to maybe come and test this exponential moving average today. We didn't necessarily quite get there, and we bounced right off the low of the day in that $26 range and came right back up. When you think about price movements of stocks, if a stock goes up 44% in one given day, the next day, more than likely, it's going to come down. We did not see that with AMC. That shows a sign of immense strength in this stock, and it kind of confirms everything that we've been kind of saying with these technical indicators, the 4-hour cross, the closing above the 200 EMA over here, the daily cross, the closing above the 200 EMA over here. Everything is looking very, very solid. Now, I also kind of want to get into what exactly happened today. In the morning when we saw this massive price run up here and then a giant sell-off and a halt to the downside, which is typically not the best thing that you want to see. In my mind right here, it all has to do with the options chain. When we come over to the options chain right here, you can kind of see that the open interest is blank on a lot of these strikes for these weekly expiration dates, but you can see the volume on them is very, very high. So these are new options that are getting added into the market that the market makers are collecting premium on. So Citadel, Virtue, or any other large market making institution. When yesterday the stock went up 44%, they were losing boatloads of money on the calls that they sold, unless they were properly delta hedging by going out in the open market and buying the shares that they needed to. Which were they? They potentially were. Maybe they were not. Now, when you think about what they did this morning when they added these strikes, we were talking about this in the live stream this morning that a lot of people were asking, well, what's going on with these strikes? And in my back of my mind, I was like, they are most likely going to try to run the price up, entice people to buy all of those new options or even the existing options on the chain. Like again, here we see a lot of volume on a lot of these options, 11,000 at the 30.50, 9,000 at the 29.50. And then once they entice people on kind of a bait and switch run here, they drop it really hard, buy those contracts back, and try to collect that premium back. That is absolute blatant manipulation of the stock here. Now, again, just because they did this today doesn't necessarily mean we are losing it all. Remember, we are up a crazy amount over the last week, and we ended up finishing the day in the green, which is another really, really awesome thing to see. Now, coming over to the Ortex data right here, Let me just refresh this so we can get that most up-to-date data that we have on Ortex. So they're still showing 100% utilization. I personally still think that's kind of nonsense because we are not at all-time high shares on loan yet. As you guys can see back here, let's see if we can kind of move this out. We can see on loan, actually free float on loan. So we can see on loan way back here, we had 152 million shares on loan. Right now, we're showing about 139 million. So we still have a little bit of a ways to go. But look at this right here. Max cost to borrow stepping up significantly on AMC today to 14.39%. Very, very solid indications there that the shorts are getting even more pressure put on them. Now, we still have that 20.79% estimated short interest, and we also saw here that they returned about 1.69 million shares today. That is not really a sign of widespread shorts covering. There is still a boatload of shares out there. And Ortex is really only going to be going off some of this reported data. This is not even accounting for any of those quotes like synthetic shares, naked shorts that are out there in the open market at the current time. Now, in addition to this, I also want to briefly touch upon what's kind of going on with GME too, because their data has been looking pretty good. They've been going on some massive runs as well. And we can see here that they returned about 476,000 shares on them today. The max cost to borrow is still very, very high, 36.6% max cost to borrow. Estimated short interest here, still 24.33%, very, very, very high. Days to cover still high, 5.54 days. So everything is kind of looking in our direction at this point on both of these two big short squeeze stocks. The data is looking really solid. When you combine that with the technicals, when you combine that with the good fundamental news coming out about these companies, it does not make sense at all in any fashion to be short these two stocks right now, which is why I believe that we are on the winning side of this trade and is why I'm going to keep holding and buying more when I can. So then the kind of last thing that I want to touch upon with you guys today is do a little bit of an analysis of what we're seeing here in terms of a gamma squeeze and the potential for a gamma squeeze by looking at the options chain right here. So when we come over to Stonko Tracker, there's 118,000 call contracts in the money at the current time. So we are still in the beginning of the week. There is 125,000 contracts out of the money. And when you think about it right here, since they added a boatload more of those contracts, the market makers are playing with fire here. If people start buying those contracts and the at the money, in the money contracts, the market makers are going to have to buy. And then we start to see the price run up, sending more contracts in the money. Well, we're going to see potentially 150,000, 200,000, 250,000 contracts in the money by the end of this week. And that's gamma squeeze territory right there for the amount of shares that these market makers are going to have to buy to hedge these contracts. Now, in addition to this, when you kind of combine the amount of puts that are in the money right here, there's 1,951. That is a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of puts. And again, guys, for those of you guys who don't know, gamma squeezes kind of can work in both directions. If the stock starts to go down, in order to hedge those puts that the market makers are selling, they actually go out in the open market and short shares in order to maintain that directionally neutral status, because shares that are sold short have a negative delta, and the puts that they are selling have a positive delta. So, or a negative that's the other way around. Sorry about that. So when we look at this right here, everything is looking pretty solid in our favor. And I think I just misspoke there, guys. When you sell a put, you actually make money when the stock goes up. So you have a positive delta there. When you sell shares sold short, you have a negative delta there. So sorry if that was a little bit confusing for you guys. So when we come over and take a look at the actual options chain again to get some kind of key levels that we could look for, yeah, 30 is going to be a key level. 35 is going to be a key level. 40 is a really key level with a lot of options. And again, we've seen the kind of volatility of the stock. Anything is really possible at this point with crazy price movements. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you guys enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the live stream bright and early tomorrow morning.